March 17, 1943. Abwehr Headquarters, Berlin. Admiral Wilhelm Canaris, head of German military intelligence, stared at a folder on his desk. Its contents were so explosive, they meant execution if discovered by the Gestapo. According to intercepted messages and agent reports from Mexico City, the American Ford Motor Company was achieving the impossible, producing a B-24 Liberator bomber every single hour at a plant called Willow Run. The B-24 was no simple machine. It was an 18-ton giant, comprising 1.5 million parts. For one to roll off an assembly line every 60 minutes was a feat that defied the entire mathematical foundation of German military planning. The collapse had begun years earlier. In EJOCE, Luftwaffe attaches reported that American aircraft production was nearing 2,000 planes per month. Hermann Göring laughed. "The Americans can only build refrigerators and razor blades," he told Hitler. Their racial ideology insisted a mongrel democracy could never be efficient. But by 1943, the reports were overwhelming and consistent. They came from Swedish engineers, Spanish diplomats, and Japanese agents. They all said the same thing. The Willow Run plant outside Detroit was producing more heavy bombers than all of Germany's factories combined. The intelligence was gathered through incredibly dangerous means. In Mexico City, a German agent posing as an Argentine merchant memorized the drunken boasts of an American oil executive who had toured Willow Run. "The assembly line is over a mile long," the man had said. "Clouds form inside the building. They have 42,000 workers, women, Negroes, boys each, trained in days to perform a single, repetitive task." The most detailed account came from Ford's own production chief, Charles Sorensen, who unknowingly divulged secrets to a Spanish colonel who was secretly reporting to Berlin. Sorensen explained how he had broken the bomber down into 60,000 separate operations, moving the aircraft past stationary workers to achieve unimaginable speed. 17 independent sources confirmed the nightmare. Willow Run was producing 650 B-24s each month. The entire American output of the plane was over 1,400 monthly. Admiral Canaris knew he was risking his life, but he had to make the leadership understand. On April 20, 1943, Hitler's birthday, he presented the evidence to Reichsmarschall Göring. "Herr Reichs," Marshal Canaris began, "we have confirmation. The Ford plant is producing one B-24 every hour." Göring picked up a photograph of the endless assembly line. "Canaris, do you take me for a fool?" he scoffed. "These are obviously wooden mock-ups for propaganda. This plant probably makes 50 bombers a month at most." When Canaris showed him documents proving the plant consumed 16 million pounds of aluminum monthly, more than all of Germany, Göring laughed. "Then where do they get it? From their Negro workers, from their women riveters. You have been deceived." A week later, the audience with Hitler was even worse. The Führer, preoccupied with maps of the Eastern Front, dismissed the report out of hand. "A bomber is not a car," he declared. "It requires precision and skill. For them to achieve this in 16 months is impossible. The figures are false." The truth was even captured on film. Canaris obtained smuggled footage showing the mile-long assembly line in operation, a clock on the wall confirming the relentless pace. He and his deputy, Hans Oster, watched it in a locked room. "My God," Oster whispered. "It's true." Canaris then burned the film. "We cannot show this. They would have us executed as traitors." This was the heart of the failure. It was not a lack of intelligence, but a catastrophic refusal to accept it. The truth contradicted Nazi ideology too profoundly. To believe that women, African Americans, and a democratic system could outperform the master race was to admit their entire worldview was a lie. Albert Speer, Hitler's armaments minister and the only leader who understood industry, secretly saw the reports. His diary reveals his despair. "If the Willow Run figures are even half accurate, we face not defeat but annihilation. But I cannot speak this truth. To do so would be my death warrant." The men who tried to report the truth were silenced. Canaris was removed from his post, suspected of treason. He was later executed in a concentration camp. Hans Oster met the same fate. Meanwhile, at Willow Run, the impossible continued. By April 1944, the plant hit its peak. One B-24 every 63 minutes. It employed over 42,000 people, women, like Rose Willow Monroe, the real Rosie the Riveter, who simply saw it as her duty. "We knew we were building something important," she later said. Every rivet was going to help end the war. The consequences of Germany's disbelief were absolute. On February 20, 1944, during Big Week, the US 8th Air Force sent over 1,000 bombers against German aircraft factories. They dropped more bombs in 6 days than the Luftwaffe had during the entire Blitz on Britain. On D-Day, the Allies owned the sky with over 11,000 aircraft. The Luftwaffe could muster fewer than 300. In the ruins of Berlin in 1945, American officers found a final, undelivered German report on Willow Run. Dated to Hitler's last birthday, it contained a stark warning for the ages. We reported this truth 2 years ago. We were not believed. Germany dies, not from a lack of intelligence, but from a lack of wisdom. The verdict of history is clear. The spies did their job. The leaders failed in theirs, and in that failure lies an eternal lesson. Reality does not care what you believe. Those who deny factual truth in favor of comfortable ideology will ultimately be destroyed by it.